Inside cocoa and coffee's biggest shakeups, how 3 revolutions remade your daily fix, and who's cashing in next. Europe, 1828 to the 1950s. Cocoa and coffee shift from elite ritual to everyday habit. Van Houten of Amsterdam puts chemistry to work and rewrites chocolate's economics. The 1828 cocoa press splits butter from powder, lowering costs and multiplying uses. Dutching in Amsterdam softens bitterness and makes cocoa dissolve cleanly. 2 streams emerge in Europe: powder for drinkers, butter to shape future bars. Fries of Bristol prepares to turn drinkable chocolate into something portable. 1847. Fries molds the first modern bar. Chocolate becomes pocketable. Solid bars create brands, wrappers, and shelf space. Retail explodes. Cadbury of Bournville scales cocoa with conscience and crisp processes. Rowntree's of York joins the British trio defining mass chocolate. Bournville blends factory and garden. Housing signals a new industrial ethos. Cadbury cocoa tins land on kitchen shelves, priced for routine use. Across Britain and the Low Countries, presses hum and prices drop. Hershey in Derry Township, Pennsylvania, chases American-scale milk chocolate. 1900. The Hershey bar launches. A new American standard is set. Chicago World's Fair machinery nudges Hershey from caramels into chocolate. 1900 to 1905. Hershey sells caramels, bets on scale, and wins on price. A cavernous 1905 plant floor turns milk, sugar, and cocoa into millions of bars. 1891 to 1911. Ghana's smallholders surge, volumes climb, cocoa prices fall. Côte d'Ivoire expands along the forest line. Migration fills the rows. Cadbury boycotts São Tomé. Abuses persist elsewhere. Ethics begin to redirect trade. By the 1930s, West Africa supplies about 2/3 of world cocoa. And the risk. Hills Bros of San Francisco chases freshness as coffee goes national. 1900. Vacuum tins lock in aroma and create consistent, branded coffee. Maxwell House of Nashville blends reliability with mass-market reach. The blue can standardizes flavor across a continent of percolators. Folgers from San Francisco perfects distribution to match America's mornings. Bright red tins promise a reliable cup, coast to coast. Nestlé of Vevey brings lab discipline to milk, chocolate, and then coffee. 1938. Nescafé debuts. Soluble quality finally meets convenience. The U.S. Army buys over 1 million cases. Soldiers bring Nescafé home. Mess kits, 1944. Nescafé becomes comfort under fire and a habit afterward. 1906 to 1925. Brazil props prices with stockpiles, sowing future gluts. The Depression hits. Slow-to-adjust trees turn booms into busts. Cadbury Dairy Milk arrives. More milk, more mass appeal. Swiss milk chocolate scales through Daniel Peter and Nestlé's Alpine know-how. Industrial cocoa and coffee. Colonial maps move crops. Tech cuts costs. And bars and cans enter the middle class. Lisbon's cocoa networks broker Portuguese colonial flows. Forced labor scars São Tomé into the 1950s. Buyers pivot to the mainland. Witch's broom and frosty pod rot push cocoa buyers from Brazil to Africa. Edwardian grocer shelves glow with branded tins and wrapped bars. 1945 to 1955. Supermarkets and TV normalized daily indulgence. New York futures tame volatility for buyers. Farmers still take the price. From instant to cans, bitterness and strength become the mid-century norm. Van Houten tins sit in European kitchens, promising easy cocoa nights. Portability makes chocolate routine. Lunch pails, parlors, everywhere. Hershey's company town ties community life to a factory rhythm. Press and package unlock mass demand. Supply moves to cheap land. Every bite carries hidden costs. Mid-century kitchens hum with percolators and pantry tins. West Coast, 1960s to 2010s. Specialty reimagines origin, quality, and value. Pete's of Berkeley rejects commodity sameness and trains palates. Bags labeled by origin invite customers to taste place, not just caffeine. Craft over commodity, slower brewing, darker roasts, educated regulars. Starbucks of Seattle starts with beans and becomes a global stage. Scoop bins and brown paper bags launch a new retail ritual. Espresso bars arrive on Puget Sound, lines form for lattes. Italy inspires. Espresso culture becomes an American social setting. Il Giornale channels Milan into Seattle streets. Il Giornale acquires Starbucks. Schultz scales cafe culture. 1990 to 1992. Rapid openings and an IPO make the third place mainstream. A growth curve steepens as store counts and ticket sizes climb. The latte becomes a canvas. Milk and espresso invite customization. Comfort, control, conversation. The third place earns premium margins. Counterculture in Durham prioritizes transparency and training. Detail-rich bags teach drinkers farms, lots, and processing. Intelligentsia in Chicago formalizes sourcing and sensory language. Pour-over stations signal patience, precision, and flavor clarity. Stumptown in Portland builds direct trade muscle with producers. Direct trade bags promise premiums, partnerships, and repeat quality. Blue Bottle in Oakland elevates minimalism and meticulous freshness. Minimal bag, maximal clarity. Roast day becomes a buying cue. 2002, Third Wave names a movement where coffee is treated like wine. Farm names replace futures. Relationship coffee commands premiums. Calabout of Wiese anchors craft with industrial consistency. Cacao Berry of Paris brings terroir stories to chefs. Berry Calabout forms, becoming the backbone for bean-to-bar and big brands. High fluidity couverture empowers artisans to chase texture and shine. Vietnam's output climbs. The chart shows Robusta's relentless rise. 1990s to 2000s. Heat-tolerant Robusta rewires blends and instant. Cadbury's legacy faces a 2010 takeover battle. Kraft acquires Cadbury, later becomes Mondelez. British heritage meets scale. Cocoa Life badges packs, bundling sustainability into brand value. Berry Calabout deepens origin programs and chef networks. Pete's, backed by Jabe, absorbs Stumptown and Intelligentsia. Nestlé buys Blue Bottle, folding Kraft into a global portfolio. Blue Bottle pods appear. Quality meets convenience at scale. A former pod skeptic pivots. Distribution and margins win. Specialty and Third Wave. Certifications nudge, premiums attract consolidation, and cafe connoisseurship spreads. Frappes and seasonal drinks widen the funnel far beyond purists. 2000s. Fair trade versus direct trade. Transparency wins roaster loyalty. Cliff Bar, like others, turns cocoa sourcing into a consumer promise. Cocoa Life stamps appear even on energy bars. Story scales. Barry Callebaut's academies train chefs and amplify origin narratives. Pete's portfolio gains shared sourcing and roasting leverage. Blue Bottle cans cold brew, bottling cafe quality for retail. Cuppers and Q-graders translate taste so customers can follow. Menus teach origins, elevations, and processing. Anaerobic comes later. A quiet bar, a flight of pour-overs, and the sound of precision. Training standardizes quality. Scorecards align palettes across teams. Nitro Cold Brew adds theater and texture to the coffee canon. 2000s to present. Crises and new rules compress the industry towards scale. Cocoa prices spiked to records in 2024-2025 as West African yields collapse. Above 32 degrees near Abidjan, pods fail. Rainfall swings worsen losses. Barry Callebaut in Zurich turns traceability into a license to operate. Traceability climbs. More lots mapped, more shipments verified each year. 2025. EUDR requires farm plot mapping. No map, no Europe. Ferrero of Alba secures inputs to protect Nutella, Kinder, and Rocher. Ferrero buys Oltan in Turkey and locks down hazelnuts upstream. Nutella lines depend on guaranteed nuts, sugar, and cocoa at scale. Thornton's, Fannie Mae, Ferrara join Ferrero. Distribution deepens. Nestle U.S. candy brands Fox's, Burton's, Ferrero's footprint expands. Scale hedges commodity shocks and climate risk across cocoa and nuts. Coffee prices jump 2021 to 2025. Brazil's weather squeezes Arabica and Robusta. Minas Gerais frost, then drought. Premiums rise and blends shift. 2025. Starbucks stock wobbles on price hikes, closures, and layoffs. Premium meets resistance. Unions organize, rivals win with lower prices. Gwen Coffee Supply in Brooklyn champions Vietnamese provenance. A clean, sweet Robusta bag reframes what quality can taste like. Nam Coffee in Los Angeles pushes flavor-forward Vietnamese profiles. 2017 to 2022, the world leans into more Robusta in blends and instant. Arabica versus Robusta shares move. Climate and cost reset the mix. Species isn't fate. Specialty Robusta from Vietnam proves it. Goodland Organics in Goleta grows coffee where few imagined. California cherries ripen. A Mediterranean outpost tests possibilities. Agroforestry adds biodiversity, shade, and resilience to heat spikes. Nescafé plan jars carry investments in farmer training and resilience. Even with premiums, farm incomes trail living benchmarks. Structure matters. Cocoa Life scales into Oreos. Compliance and storytelling align. Compliance becomes a business. Traceability vendors and blockchains multiply. Capital funds adaptation. Small roasters struggle with compliance costs. Dalawa drying patios. Scarcity glints on 1,000 parchment beans. 2025. Plot polygons become purchase keys. Direct models gain weight. Crisis and consolidation. EUDR gates markets, shocks reward scale. Robusta rises with resilient practices. Nestlé in Veve balances input inflation across a global coffee empire. 2024 to 2025. Value packs and tiers soften pushback on price. Under EUDR, small importers scramble for GPS proofs and polygons. Zurich dashboards glow, traceability and risk approvals now daily work. Oreo packs carry Cocoa Life metrics, baking sustainability into snack time. 2024. Ghana's smallholders still earn below living incomes despite spikes. Co-ops graft and plant shade trees to stabilize fragile cocoa belts. From beans to bites, rules reshape access, scale, bankrolls adaptation, and tastes accept new origins and prices. 2025. Satellite alerts tie deforestation risk to instant purchase approvals. A farmer's hand opens a pod. The system depends on this moment. Press and package unlock mass demand. Supply chases cheapest land. Consequences move with every ritual. Origins become identities. Direct ties humanize trade. Success attracts consolidation. Regulate for regeneration. Scale to survive shocks. Rethink species and channels. A split screen. Forest polygons and factory dashboards share one future. Return to the mid-century kitchen. Convenience once ruled the cup. A modern cafe flight. Curiosity now guides the palate and the price. From Press to Planet, 1828 to 2025. An Atlantic arc remade by taste, tech, and climate.